Welcome to Sports Talk with RKJ. I am your host, Steve Risser, along with my co-hosts, Justin D'Onofrio and Kyle Galuli. And the baseball playoffs are upon us, and they started last night. And it was a great game between the Nationals and the Brewers. The Brewers had a 3-0 lead to start. 2 home runs off Max Scherzer. Got a home run from Grandal to start the game, and then Eric Thames in the second inning, and then Turner had a home run in the second inning. But it was a 3-1 game until the 8th inning, and Josh Hader came in and gave it up. I mean, it was a couple walks. Zimmerman got the big hit. He walked Rendon, and then Juan Soto got the RBI single. Right fielder, who was Yelich's replacement, makes the error. The third run scores on that play, and it ends up being 4-3 Nationals. The Nationals end up winning the game 4-3. It was a great game last night, a great way to start the playoffs.
Yeah, it was. It's a good thing to come, I guess, when you have a game that's that great, leading off the playoffs. And again, it seems like, again, the Nats were going to blow another opportunity in a playoff game at home. But Juan Soto comes up with the big hit, and now this morning watching, they're saying who needs Bryce Harper, who's Bryce Harper there. But that was a great game last night. Scherzer wasn't great. It took him a little bit to settle in. Stratford, though, was unbelievable. He really anchored that team to get that win last night. And then if you told me 3-1 going the 8th, the Brewers are bringing Josh Hader, I would have said Nationals had no chance. But Hader was kind of all over the place last night, and the Nationals took advantage of it.
Yeah, that was a crazy because I literally turned that on because I was like, oh yeah, I forgot the wild card game. I turned on, it's 2-0. I was like, what? Like, what happened? That's when I put in the channel. Like, what happened? You guys said 2-run home run, and then I think that was just the perfect start for the Brewers, because especially when it's a 2-run home run, it's just the shock of, okay, we got Scherzer, who's one of the best pitchers in the league, and now you're down 2-0, and you're just like, oh my god. And especially it creeps back into your mind of, here we go again, same thing, different day. And now you go into the 8th inning, like you said, Josh Hader comes in. You could tell from the beginning, even if he does get out of it, it wasn't going to be smooth. And obviously it wasn't. Now, Yelich is going to be just, because, in his head, he's just like, if I didn't get hurt, if I'm there, I'm not making that error. He's going to be thinking about that. Hader's going to be just thinking about that. Like, he's just going to be racking his brain 24/7, 365 until the next season, because that is just sticking in your mind where all you just needed to make was one pitch, because it was with 2 outs if I wasn't mistaken, right? One pitch, and you get out of that inning, you go to the 9th, especially with that being the heart of the the order that you're going through. Especially if you go into the 9th and you're facing like the 5th, 6th, 7th batters, you're feeling nice about yourself. Now you go into the 9th inning. Even in the 9th inning, I honestly, once that whoever got on that was for Kane that got on for the Brewers, I was still expecting the Nationals to their bullpen just to blow it, to be honest, because that bullpen was just, it's been terrible the whole year. It's been like such a glaring weakness of that team, and then they didn't blow, and you saw those fans go just bananas.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I mean, the Nationals bullpen's been terrible all year, but Daniel Hudson had some pitching better for them, and he only had to pitch 1 inning to protect that lead, and they ended up winning that game 4-3. I think the biggest reason why the Brewers lost this game was Brendan Woodruff only went 4 innings, and that put a strain on their bullpen, because they had to go to their bullpen in the 5th inning. Pomeranz had to pitch two innings out of relief, the 6th and the 7th, and they needed Hader to pitch 2 innings as the closer, and that's tough for a closer to have a 6-out save, especially against a good lineup. I mean, and I think that was the biggest reason the Brewers lost, is Woodruff only went 4 innings. You want to talk about openers and everything, but you got to have your starters go at least 5 to 6 innings. I'd say at least like 5 and a third or 5 2/3 innings, because having your starter go 4 innings is very, very hard to win a baseball game with your starters going less than 5 innings, and that proved to be the big Achilles heel of the Brewers last night. I mean, that's why I think they lost the game to the Nationals last night.
Yeah, and I think if I'm not mistaken, I did hear on my way home I was listening to the game, and they said he was coming back from injury, so his last 2 starts he threw 37, 38 pitches. So he really wasn't going deep from the sound of it, which is like he probably was their top starter going in, but if he can really only give you 4 innings, I know it's a wild card game. I know your bullpen, has been pretty good, especially you have Hader, but that's a tough situation right there.
Yeah, because the question I was gonna ask you guys is Woodruff was he normally a starter? Or was he used more as an opener?
Do you think he would do more as a starter?
No, he was a starter for most of the season.
So it's like
he was a starter pretty much the entire
so
year.
Even if he is coming off of an injury, when a guy is dealing, look at this: 4 innings pitched, 2 hits, 1 earned run, no walks, 3 Ks. Only pitched 52 pitches up until that point and had 34 strikes. Keep going. You keep going with the hot hand. That just keep going. Like you said, the long you drive. If you can get that to 5, even 6 innings, and then the other 2 guys come in, and Sutter and Pomeranz come in. They pitch 3 innings with only giving up 1 hit total and 2 combined strikeouts. If you just push that long and it pushes more strain on it because they're like, okay, we can't deal with this pitcher, and then you gave them an out for it, and then they capitalized.
Absolutely. So we'll move on to the Yankees, and they were the AL East champions, and they host the AL Central champions Twins on Friday. And this is going to be an interesting series. Yes,
home runs for the Yankees.
Yes, both teams hit over 300 home runs this year. The Twins hitting in 307 home runs, the Yankees hitting 306 home runs. And yes, in the past the Yankees have owned the Twins, and I still think they win this series. I think that the Yankees have the better pitching. I think the Yankees have the better starting pitching, which is saying a little bit because the Yankees starting pitching isn't that great. Obviously, the better bullpen, and I think the lineups are close. But I think that I give the edge. It's a tough one, but I probably give the edge to the Yankees because they hit better for average than the Twins do.
And I feel like maybe it's deeper too.
Yeah,
so they can mix and match, and depending on the pitchers and the numbers and the analytics.
So we look at the Yankees going to the postseason. This should be the healthiest that they are. I mean, they got Sanchez back, they got Judge back, they got Stanton back, they got Encarnacion back. This is the healthiest the Yankees have been in a long time going into the postseason. So I think offensively, I think in this series they're really going to hit. I think pitching wise in game 1, this is how I'm doing it. Game 1, I'm starting Tanaka. Game 2, I'm going Paxton. Game 3, I go Sevy, and Game 4, I go Happ. And that's the way I set my rotation up. They haven't announced the Game 1 starter yet, but that's the way I set my rotation up. And then obviously we got the bullpen, which I think is the best in baseball, with Chapman, with Britton, with Ottavino, and with Canely. And if you look on the flip side for the Twins, I mean, they had 5 guys at over 30 home runs: Eddie Rosario, Nelson Cruz, Mitch Garver, Max Kepler, and Miguel Sano. So this Twins team that's the strength of this Twins team is obviously the power in their lineup. And then you look at the Twins and you look at their starting pitching. Barrios and Odorizzi are okay, but I saw Odorizzi pitch. I was at the game. I was out in Minnesota this summer when the Yankees played the Twins, and I saw Odorizzi pitch, and he was not good at all. Barrios is good. He's not great. So, and then you look at the other Twin starters. Gibson's been pitching a lot out of the bullpen. Perez has been pitching a lot out of the bullpen, and Pineda's been suspended. And looking at their bullpen right now, currently, I think it's a decent bullpen with Taylor, Rogers, with Duffy, with May. But the issue is, you remember during the regular season when the Yankees were at Target Field in July, Twins had an 8-2 lead in that late game, and they blew that game. And if they win that game, they could eventually sweep that series. But then they lose that game, they lose the next game, and they lose 2 out of 3 of the Yankees. This year, the Yankees beat the Twins 4 to 6 times. And I think looking at these two teams, I think the Yankees win the series. I'll give the Twins 1 game because of their power, but I think the Yankees win the series. I got the Yankees winning it in 4.
Yeah, I also got the Yankees winning 4. I think Minnesota will probably win game 3. That's what I'm assuming. But yeah, there's going to be an absolute slugfest. And why I give the Yankees the edge is because I think our bullpen can shut the door down. I am much more confident our bullpen shutting down the door than the Minnesota Twins right now. Even though the Yankees starting pitching has been so good in September, I think they were first in ERA, or they were top 3 in starter ERA.
Especially Paxton too.
Yeah, so they've started to get it on right at the right time. Severino came back and looked really good. So it's gonna be interesting to see how Stanton does now in Encarnacion. But this lineup, and hopefully Gio Urshela is healthy. He sprained the ankle Sunday, but this lineup is so dangerous. And even for the Twins too, like Nelson Cruz, 39 years old, still hit over 40 home runs. It's crazy to see this guy just keep launching home runs year after year after year. 300 home runs from both teams this season. It's just a record. It's just, this could be a slugfest. And and the winner probably in this series is probably going to be we can never get to shut down innings in the 8th, 9th inning. And I think the Yankees bullpen set up a little bit better than the Twins, because the Yankees are the only team too that did not use a reliever 3 days in a row. So like they, you know, and now you only have 2 in the ALDS. You only play 2 straight. So that means you set up Ottavino, Berta, and Chapman, and then you could come back and use them again tomorrow with the travel day. So I think Yankees do win this in 4.
Yeah, I'm right there with you guys. I'm also gonna have the Yankees winning in 4. I think it's because at the peak for each team's batting orders, I think you can say roughly, you know, I was giving the Yankees a slight advantage, but it's nothing too major. But the thing that gives them the advantage is the depth, because maybe, like I said earlier, that if you have one batter that's maybe bad against, you know, there's this starting pitcher, and let's say in game 3, just replace someone else, you know, so you get more depth, so you can mix and match as you feel. I think also like the bullpen's better. I mean, you have like someone like, you know, Chapman, you know, you mix in, you know, like some Chad Green. The only thing I'll say with like Steve, like how you said for game 4 with Severino, are we going to pitch him more like a starting pitcher, or are we going to use him more opener?
And you knew Sevy was terrible in the postseason last year.
Yeah. So that's the thing, because he's only had that one start, right? In
that Boston.
Yeah, Boston game was terrible. Then Minnesota a couple of years ago in 2017, he was terrible too.
Yeah, and then and when he came back from injury this year, he only had like one start, and then the stuff in the minor leagues, but majors like 1-2 appearances max. So it's like, do you really want to use him more of a, like, you know, start to maybe have him go 6 to 7, or you want to use him more of the opener, maybe push him 4, maybe 5 max, depending if he's feeling really hot and doing really good. So I'll say, like, personally, as just a baseball fan, I'll be mad if these games are 1-0, because I'm expecting like fireworks, like home runs. I wouldn't be surprised if each game's like 7-6, 8-6, you know, something to that extent. But it's gonna be, if you like home runs, you like runs, this is gonna be a series for you.
Absolutely. And you saw that series when the Yankees went out to Minnesota in July. I mean, game 1 was 8-6. Game 2 was 14-12. And then game 3 was 10-7. There were so many runs scored in that series. And I think it's going to be more of the same. I think there's going to be a ton of runs in this series.
Especially the good old short porch in right field.
Of course. I think it's going to be a really fun series to watch, knowing knowing the power of both these teams they have in the lineup. And the Yankees are pretty much fully healthy going into the series. So we'll go on to the other American League series. And that's not set yet, because the A's play the Rays tonight in the wild card game. But the Astros, who had the best record in baseball, winning 107 games, and they are loaded. Looking at their rotation with Cole and Verlander, 2 potential Cy Young Award candidates at the top. You got Zach Greinke and Wade Miley. Zach Greinke, who hasn't pitched great for the Astros since he's came over, but he's still pretty good. And then you look at the you look at Wade Miley, who's decent too. The Astros lineup is outstanding. When you look at Springer, Correa, Altuve. Don't forget about Alvarez this year too. Alvarez he's the AL Rookie of the Year. He's had a great year for the Astros.
Bregman
and Brantley, a really good lineup. You look at their bullpen's pretty good too, with Ozuna, Presley, and Presley and
Sanchez hasn't even been terrible for him either.
No, not at all. Ozuna, Presley, and Harris. So the bullpens, the Astros are pretty much loaded everywhere, and I think they're going to be very, very difficult to beat. The Astros are going to be very, very difficult to beat in this postseason. I think they're the favorite going into the play. Yes, Joe Aguirre doesn't want to hear this, but the Astros are definitely the favorite to win the World Series this year, and they'll play either the A's or the Rays, and this is going to be an interesting game tonight. You got Charlie Morton going up against Sean Manaea. Manaea's pitched really well in 5 starts. His ERA is under 2. I think, and you look at the A's lineup, it's not as good as it was last year, but it's still solid with Marcus Semien, with Matt Olson, with Matt Chapman. I think this is, and Chris Davis is at a down year, but he's, you know, what he did last year for the A's. So the A's are still a pretty good team, really good bullpen. Kendricks has become a really good closer for this team. And their rotations really stepped up this year. I think the biggest difference with the A's this year is their lineup's not as good, but their rotations is definitely better, with Fiers, with Anderson, with Manaea, getting Tanner Roark. and having Frankie Montas. So their rotation is definitely better. And then you look you look at the Rays. Offensively, they're not as good as the A's. I think Austin Meadows had a really good rookie year, but offensively the Rays are definitely limited. Bullpen's been pretty good. Yes, they're second in bullpen ERA. Outside of pitching at Yankee, their bullpen pitching against the Yankees, it's been really good this year. And their aces on the mound with Charlie Morton. The issue with Charlie Morton though is that he's not pitched well. He pitched really well in that last start against the Yankees, but since then, late August, early September, he hasn't pitched well at all, and that's why I think the A's win tonight. I got the A's beating the Rays in the wild card game tonight.
Yeah, I got the A's 2 at home. I think it'd be another like last night, very low scoring runs are gonna be hard to come by. The both starters have been really, really good. Charlie Morton's been a great pickup for the Rays. Sean Manaea coming off. We saw his first start against the Yankees back in late August, and he shut them down, going no runs and 5-6 innings he threw. So, runs to be very hard to come by. And then the winner exactly the Astros. The A's actually 2 weeks ago took 3 out of 4 against the Astros in Minute Maid Park, and they actually put up 21 runs one night. So. I think it'd be really fun to see the Astros and A's go at it too, and maybe because the division series, both teams in the West, maybe both teams have played each other. They played each other 19-20 times, so they can they're very familiar with each other. I would love to see the A's try to knock them off, but the Astros are definitely the World Series favorite right now. That lineup's so good. Springer only played 111 games, and if he was healthy and played like 162, he definitely probably would have been the AL MVP. Alex Bregman, Carlos Correa, the Astros have had their injury woes as well this season, just like the Yankees. Not as many, but they've had guys banged up all year. That rotation, Greinke, Cole, and Verlander is just you can't really beat that rotation. And
the resurrection of his career when he came back to when he came to the Astros.
Yeah, and he has not looked back. And I think the Astros will, whoever wins tonight, I think the Astros will get by them. But tonight I'm gonna take the Rays in a low scoring battle.
Yeah, I'm taking Oakland. I think it's gonna be another good game. Which I remember when the wild card game first came out. The one game, to make it to the AL or NLDS. People were like so against it. Because it was like, it was like you're messing with the formula or something in a way. Like, people were just mad. Honestly, this might be one of the best things added to baseball in a long, long time. I mean, every wild card game, it's like the excitement is just, it's insane. Like, the crowd is so much more hyped up because it's the first playoff game for obviously for all 4 teams involved. And like let's even going back to when the Yankees and the Twins played a couple years ago, like that crowd was insane. The crowd last night was insane, over there in Washington, and it was just, it's just one of the better things to come into baseball in a long, long time. But I think the Oakland A's will win this because I think they have the deeper batting, and just I think that they're just going to be able to just, hit that clutch hit at, whatever moment it is. But whoever wins this plays the Astros. I think whoever wins this, whether it's the Rays or the A's, it's going to be, I could see a hot 3-0, maybe 3-1 if like the starting pitching just is terrible, like for one day for the Astros. But other than that, I think whoever wins this game is just going to get slaughtered by the Astros.
I definitely agree there. I agree. So we'll go over to the National League. We'll circle back to the Nationals who won their game last night, but they're not in great shape going into the series against the Dodgers. I mean, with Scherzer going 5 innings last night, and then with Corbin going 3 innings. Strasburg going 3 innings last night as well at a relief, because you know how bad the Nationals bullpen is. If they brought in a reliever there, they would have been in big trouble. So I think they had to save their season and bring Strasburg in. They start their series against the Dodgers. Dodgers had another great year. I mean, they're the 2-time defending National League champions, and I mean, obviously Cody Bellinger is probably the MVP of the National League. You have three really good starters with Kershaw, Rue, and Walker Buehler, and you got a pretty good bullpen with Baez and Kenley Jansen. And you're looking at the Nationals; they got to win Game 1. The Nationals need to win Game 1 in this series. If they don't, they're not going to win this series. This is why they went out and signed Patrick Corbin, is to pitch in a game like this and to win a game like this. This is why they chose to sign Patrick Corbin and not Bryce Harper to pitch in a game like this and win a game like this. So I think that that this series, I think it's a decent series. I'll give the Nationals one game, but I think at the end of the day, I think the Dodgers win this series and advance to the NLCS for the 4th year in a row. I think Dave Roberts is a great manager. I like the Dodgers lineup with Bellinger, with Turner, with Corey Seager and Max Muncy. I like the Dodgers lineup better. Their bullpen's decent, and I think the Dodgers end up winning this series. I think the biggest difference in this series is I just don't think the Nats bullpen is going to be good enough to beat the Dodgers. I don't think their starters go that deep where I think their bullpen is going to have to do stuff in this series, and I don't think their bullpen's good enough to make a deep run in the playoffs. That's the one weakness of the Nationals, their bullpen. Yes, they improved it getting Daniel Hudson, but that's the one weakness of the Nationals. I don't think their bullpen's good enough, so that's why I'm going Dodgers in 4.
Yeah, I'll say Dodgers. I think this can go 5 games. I'm gonna say it's good 5 games. What worries me is what I saw. Well, what worried me about that is they really need a good start from Scherzer, which sounds like he's gonna go Sunday, or he's gonna go Game 3, maybe Game 2 or Game 3. Probably Game 3. They got Corbin because their rotation, their top 3 can match with the Dodgers' top 3 with Scherzer, Strasburg, and Corbin. They can match Kershaw, Rue, and Buehler, because Hinge and Rue struggled, in August, September, and they kind of took his innings limit down, or he started to have some, limit some innings for him. But this is, I think it'd be a really good series. And the thing is, too, Kelly Jansen hasn't been great this year either. He's blown a lot of saves, too. So how does he do in the postseason? Does Kershaw continue to pitch well in the postseason? Because last year was really the first time we actually saw him pitch well in the postseason. It's been a while, It's been a while since he really pitched well. And I think that, I think the Nats can get to Game 5, but I think the Dodgers will prevail. This lineup is, I think, a little bit deeper than the Nationals. The Nationals have a great lineup, too. I think the Dodgers are a little bit deeper.
I'm going to go with the Dodgers. I'm leaning towards them winning 3-0, but I think I'll go with 3-1 because, like you said, Kelly Jansen, you can't really rely on him. When the closer, you're supposed to be like, okay, we're putting you in the game, shut this down, win the game, let's walk out of here. He hasn't been able to do that with much consistency. The Nationals bullpen, we know, is just, ugly and just terrible. So I think this series could push push with right there with the Twins versus Yankees series in terms of being the most exciting, because the late game pitching for the bullpens for both teams are obviously not the best. And so I think you're gonna see leads blown or come down there close to maybe like a bases loaded situation. They got to get that clutch out. But even with the Dodgers, like you said, Justin, that Kershaw is one of the best, if not the best pitcher of this generation. Come playoff times, it's like, what are you doing? It's like, it was never like he would always, you were just waiting for him to make that, the one bad pitch, have the one bad inning, and then he'd have maybe a great 6 innings, come to 7th inning, he gives up a 3-run home run, and you're just like, Kershaw, like, come on, dude, like, you pitch so good, and then you just wait. I kind of home like Peyton Manning. One of the, Peyton Manning's one of the best regular season quarterbacks. Kershaw's one of the best, regular season pitchers. Come playoff time, they're just not to the same level. What are you going to get there? If you get that level of Kershaw, then regular season, I think they could go 3-0. But I'm not willing to put all my eggs in that basket. So that's why I think the Dodgers will win this, but it will be a 3-1 series, and it will be a close 3-1 series. Every game's going to be close, decided 8th, 9th inning.
We'll talk about the last National League series, and that's between the Braves and the Cardinals. The Braves, the AL East champs. The Cardinals, the NL East champs. The Cardinals, the NL Central champs. You look at the Braves. I really like this Braves team. I think they got a decent rotation with Mike Soroka, who's had a great year. You got Dallas Keuchel in the rotation. You got Julio Teheran in the rotation. But what I really like about the Braves, their lineup with Freeman and Acunta and Albies and Markakis and Donaldson. I really like this Braves lineup. The issue with the Braves, though, is I think they have a decent bullpen, but where are they going to be at closer? Melanson's not been great as a closer. They traded for Shane Green to be a closer. He has not been good since he's joined the Braves. So, and you look at on the flip side for the Cardinals. I mean, you look at their lineup. Their lineup has definitely been better in the second half of the season, and that's a big reason why they won the division. Goldschmidt's been hot. Ozuna came back from injury, and you look at their rotation. Flaherty's had a really good year. Mikolas, who's going to start game 2, has been okay. Hudson's had a decent year too. And you look at the bullpen. I think the bullpen's going to be the biggest difference. I think the Cardinals had the second highest bullpen ERA in all of baseball. I think the bullpen's going to be a difference in this series, but I think the Braves' offense is better. I think the rotation's better. I think the series goes 5 games, and I like the Braves to win this series in 5.
Yeah, I also have it going 5. I do have the Braves. I was going back and forth on this one. I am going to take the Braves. I will take them to get home. They'll game 5 at home. I think that's why they'll take the series. But the Cardinals, they've had a great second half of the season, and especially Jack Flaherty. He had one of the best second half performances I've ever we've seen in a while. His ERA was like under 2, 10 and 1 or something like that. He pitched unbelievable, and he really was a huge reason of why the Cardinals are in this position right now. And I think in the Braves lineup, because last year the Braves were surprised to get in the playoffs. Last year they got there, they played the Dodgers, and they kind of struggled. But now Ronald Acunta's played a full year. Freeman, who was hurt, but I think he is playing this year, so we'll see. If there's any rust he's been out for the last couple of weeks. I think the Braves lineup is a little bit better than the Cardinals. It's close, but I think the Braves have enough. I'm interested to see how Shane Green does his first kind of postseason action right here. And Mark Melancon, who's been in a couple World Series, I think, with the Giants, or played in one, I think, with the Giants. But he's had some postseason experience. So interesting how they can close out some games this series. But I think Braves in 5 though, close one.
I think it's gonna be Braves in 4, just because that bullpen for the Cardinals is just so bad, and you just need postseason time.
The Cardinals bullpen's pretty good.
Well, I just think we'll come in with. I think with this though, that it's gonna end up coming with the Braves, that they're gonna end up struggling versus them, because when you have veteran players, obviously, like you did see Soto come, up clutch, obviously, and being 20 years old, that's more impressive to see a young guy do that than, like say a 30, 35, old guy do that. But when you have veteran guys like Donaldson's been in the league for, it seems like forever. The guy's been on, he's been on the A's. I think he was originally drafted by the A's and Blue Jays, and now you have the Braves. That you have him, and you have Freeman. When you have those good, like, veteran guys, especially with Freeman, who's just a rock of the team, that when you come, you could, I need a big hit, get me the hit. He's gonna get it. Then you have, Acuna, who 41 home runs, 101 RBIs, 280 batting average. That's pretty good. Then Albies is giving you pretty good average. He's just a hair under 300. He's 295, 24 home runs, 86 RBIs. It's just, I think like Goldschmidt, yes, he's been playing better, but from the beginning of the year, it felt like it just wasn't like, I don't know, it wasn't working for him. It wasn't meshing. I don't know if he just wasn't used to the ballpark or what was going on, but he did kind of like catch on, and then started playing a lot better, and ending up with 97 RBIs, 260 average, 34 home runs. But I think ultimately when you have the veteran, because the Braves had the nice mix of veterans and young guys, that ultimately that's going to win them the series. I'm gonna go with 4 in a 4-game series for the Braves.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is going to be a really good series, but I agree with you. I think the Braves win this series. I say 5 games, you say 4 games. How many games you say, Justin?
5.
Got 5.
And honestly, I think the only AL or NLDS series that's going to be a bad series is going to be the Astros versus, obviously, either the Rays or Athletics. But other than that, I think every series is going to be a fun series to watch, which is good, because you don't want to watch a hot 3-0 where like some team wins 9-0 every game. That's just boring.
Absolutely, and it should be a fun postseason start, and it started last night, and really the body of the postseason starts tomorrow. So we'll move on to Week 5 of the NFL, and it starts Thursday night with a division rivalry between the Rams and the Seahawks. I mean, I think this is going to be a great game. You look at the Rams. I don't think they're the same team as they're still a good team, but I don't think they're the same team as they were last year. I don't think their offensive line's as good. I'm telling you, Todd Gurley is not 100%, and it's really seeming to look. It's starting to really look that way. I mean, he does not look himself. He's not rushed for 100 yards in either of the Rams' 4 games this season. Their offensive line isn't as good, which results in Jared Goff not being as good. And on the defensive side of the ball, Jameis Winston had a huge day against that defense. I mean, yes, they scored 55 points. A couple of them was because of turnovers, but Jameis Winston had a huge day against that defense last week, and I think that this is going to be a really close competitive game. But I think Russell Wilson has a huge day against the Rams defense. I think they get their running game going with Chris Carson. Not sure if Rashad Penny's going to play or not, but I think Chris Carson has a really big day on the ground, and I think Russell Wilson has a big game. On the flip side, I think the Rams, I think Jared Goff has a good game, and I think he makes some mistakes because Seattle gets pressure on him, and I think he makes some mistakes. He throws a couple interceptions. I don't think they get the run game going as well, but I think he does throw for a lot of yards because he gets just like he did last week. He gets the ball to Cooper Kupp, Brandon Cooks, and Robert Woods. But at the end of the day, I'm going with Seattle in this game, and I'm going with them 27-24 to beat the Rams.
Yeah, I got the Seahawks in this one, 31-27. Jared Goff with the 4th interception last week was against a Tampa defense that's not great. I know they ended up putting up 40 points, but you started 21. You got off to a 21-0 deficit, and that's so hard to come back from in the NFL. And Chris Godwin just absolutely, him and Jameis Winston just went off. They could not cover him, and I think now Russell on a short week. The Rams got to bounce back from a short week of just giving 55 to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You got to go to Seattle, one of the toughest places to play in the NFL. And I think the Seahawks will prevail. I think, to me, another close competitive game. Yeah, of course, it's a divisional game. I didn't take Seattle home. I think Goff makes a couple poor decisions.
I'm going to go with the Rams 27-24. And I'll admit, I'm not feeling great about the pick. I just think because the Rams do have obviously Peters and Talib, so they have talent at corner. For some reason, that was brutal versus the Bucs. And the fact that you let a team that has Peters, that has Talib, and that has Donald put up 55, and against Winston too, who's more known for I mean,
the defense didn't give up 55. The offense turnovers hurt.
Yeah, it definitely did. But you're expecting just at least put up if you're gonna let them score, at least make them work for it. It looked like it was hot knife through butter. And right now with Godwin and Evans, are they right now? Would you lean towards them being one of the better duos in the league right now? Because I would have said the Vikings with Thielen and Diggs, but Kirk Cousins being Kirk Cousins, I'm not feeling great about that. But when you're the Rams, I mean, I remember I was listening to that game on Red Zone. They said before the game, McVay wants to get the running game more involved. Todd Gurley had 5 carries in that whole game.
Because they got down 21-0. Yeah,
but so just at least just mix it in. I mean, you have a quarterback throwing 68 times. 517 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. That's just bad, and that's not Rams football, right there. You need to be more balanced. Because last year, you could see they were more balanced, and they ran a lot of the same stuff over and over again, just with maybe different, window dressing, maybe different actions. Maybe a guy doing just this way, so on and so forth. But you need to step back, because if the Rams don't beat the Seahawks, this season's going to trend downwards, and I could see it trending downwards pretty quick.
Absolutely. Yeah, because this is the Rams team. It's a more competitive NFC West with the way that I think the Seahawks are a little bit better. I mean, the Seahawks are probably as good as they were last year, or they're about the same, but the Niners are improved teams. That's not going to be 2 automatic wins right there. So, I think if the Rams lose this game, they definitely are going to be they're not allowed to make the playoffs right now, and their playoff chances definitely will go down if they lose this game. We have a battle of 2-2 teams at the Meadowlands as the Vikings head out east to MetLife Stadium to face the Giants in this game. And looking at this game, as a Giants fan, I know the crowd's going to be going crazy because they've won 2 in a row. The crowd's going to be pumped up being at home. But knowing the way Kirk Cousins has played, especially in his Vikings career, this is the kind of game that Kirk Cousins plays well in. I think the biggest key to the Giants is containing Dalvin Cook, but I think Dalvin Cook goes for over 100 yards. I think Kirk Cousins has a good week throwing I think he has a good game this week, and I think the Vikings defense. This is definitely a game where the Giants need Saquon Barkley because I think the Vikings defense shuts down the Giants running game. I think Mike Zimmer, who has a really good defense, you can argue if he's a really good coach or not, but he is one of the best defensive minds in football, and I think he's going to confuse Daniel Jones. I think Daniel Jones is going to make some plays, but I think he's going to definitely make. They're definitely going to force the Vikings defense is definitely going to force Daniel Jones to make mistakes, just like he made a couple mistakes last week. And I think the Vikings win this game, and I think the Vikings win it by double digits. I think the Giants get off to a fast start at home, but I think eventually in the second half the Vikings pull away. I got the Vikings winning this game 27-17 at MetLife Stadium on Sunday.
I got the Vikings to win this one 24-13. I think this is going to be really the first tough defense that are really, really good defense that Daniel Jones is going to have to face this week and then next week with the Patriots. So I'm very interested to see, and we're going to learn a lot about Daniel Jones the next 2 weeks of how he can handle playing a defense like the Vikings.
Yeah, he's playing 2 top 5 defenses without his best skill guy, Saquon Barkley.
So you're going to have to rely on him a lot, and we're going to, and of course you're not going to, make criticize. It's going to be, he's probably going to go through some tough, it may be 2 very tough games for him. But, in a year like this, where the Giants really aren't going to be for anything, it's probably good to just get him the experience. I think Dalvin Cook is going to have a big day. And, it's Kirk Cousins on a big game, so Kirk Cousins is going to have to do fine. He'll be all right. He'll probably only throw the ball 15 times probably.
I'd say maybe like 25. Try to say like maybe 20 to 25 times.
Yeah. So because I think Cook will get going. Cook will have 100 yards, over 100 yards. He'll play well, and I think the Vikings shut him down. I think the Giants do keep it closer a little bit, but I think Cook in the second half, I think they kind of keep the ball, time possession. I think they wear the Giants defense down. I think Vikings get the win.
I'm going to have the Vikings win as well. I'm going to have another close game. I'm going to have it be 24-21 victory for the Vikings. If I'm not mistaken, isn't Golden Tate coming back?
Yes, Golden Tate will be back. Yep.
So we are going to see, how is the, cohesiveness with him and Jones going to be? Are they going to have, any... are they going to know, okay, on this route, I like it, this way, are they going to have that? Or is it going to be, a little struggle and, going to have to get used to it. Right now, if you're Kirk Cousins, you need to show up and show why they gave you that fully guaranteed contract. Because you saw Adam Thielen did call out Kirk Cousins, which normally that's not a good sign. That's a team trending downwards right there. Now, if you're Kirk Cousins, you need to show why you are a highly sought after free agent, why you got the first fully guaranteed contract, because you have Thielen, you have Diggs. That's one of the best duos in the league. You have Rudolph at tight end. You also have Irv Smith Jr. that they drafted, and you have Dalvin Cook. All that combined, that may be one of the best skill positions in the whole, combinations in the whole NFL. And right now, you are pushing out 735 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. I also saw it in the first game, I believe, they faced Falcons, first game of this season.
12 times.
Yeah. 12 times. This ain't 1990s football. This ain't 1980s football. This is 2019 where every quarterback's throwing at least 30 times. 30, probably 30+% of them are. You need to show up. And for Daniel Jones, I think what's helped him, obviously, when he ran in for the touchdown was against the Bucs in their opening game, or his first start, is he's able to use his mobility. Against this Vikings defense, I'm not really sure how much the mobility is going to be good for him, because you have Daniel Hunter, who's one of the fastest DNs in the league. Everson Griffin still has some good speed. You obviously have Barr and Kendricks. They're fast.
And the Giants' tackles have struggled. That's the weakness of their line, the way their tackles have played.
Yeah, and showing, Daniel Jones's athleticism, able to move around, I think helped mask that a little bit, but I don't think it's going to happen against us. Even the secondary, Harrison Smith's fast. They were the defense is just fast, so then you're going to be able to contain in terms of when Jones wants to run the ball. But I do think it's going to keep close, because right now, again, I'm not believing in Kirk Cousins until he shows it to me. So right now, I think it's going to be a close game, but it's a 3-point victory for the Vikings.
We have the Falcons heading to Houston to face the Texans, and both teams are trying to. Both teams are coming off losses last week, tough losses. Both of them. The Falcons got crushed by the Titans, and the Texans lost a tough game to the Panthers. But I think this week the Texans get back on track. I think the Falcons right now are a complete mess. Their offensive line has been playing terrible. They can't get the run game going. Matt Ryan has not played well. Their defense can't stop the run or get pressure on the quarterback. And I think this is a win. And I think the Texans win it by. Yes, I picked the Texans to win by 2 scores last week. Justin was right. The Panthers won. But I think this week the Texans win by a couple scores. I think that Deshaun Watson has a big week. I think that DeAndre Hopkins has a big week. I think they run the ball with Duke Johnson and Carlos Hyde again. And I think on the flip side for the Falcons, I think that they have trouble protecting Matt Ryan. I think J.J. Watt has a huge day. I don't think they get the run game going with Devontae Freeman like they haven't all year. And I got the Texans winning this game, and I got them winning it 31-16.
J.J. Watt real quick. J.J. Watt needs to show he can tackle the quarterback.
Exactly. Yeah, that was that play from Kyle Allen last week. Yes.
That was painful. Sorry.
Yeah, I think the Texans bounced back. I heard Deshaun Watson after the game Sunday was out there practicing with some wide receivers after the game. So something tells me that he's going to have a much better week than he did last week. And for the Falcons, it's just another flat effort against the Titans.
This will be Dan Quinn's last year as head coach.
It's starting to trend like that.
The hype of this team, just
after that Super Bowl, yes, yeah,
and it's pretty much fallen since they blew that lead. It has not been good since then, and it's going to continue this week. I think the Titans win this 24-17. I think they keep it close, but I think I think J.J. Watt's have a better week this week. I think this is a week maybe finally kind of gets going. He has 3 sacks and 7 tackles so far, so he's been pretty quiet for J.J. Watt. He's staying on the field, though.
Should have had 4 sacks.
Yeah, but I think the Texans...
That was just bad.
I think Texans get the win at home.
And I'm also with you guys. Texans are going to get this one at home. I have them winning 28-20. I think right now with the Falcons, ever since that Super Bowl, like we mentioned, they've just been trending downward so much. And does that maybe just speak to how good Shanahan is, maybe?
That's exactly your point. That's a great point, yeah.
Maybe he was
let's be honest.
He was worth more maybe he should have got more credit for how good the Falcons were that season than maybe Dan Quinn.
Oh, this is something I've been saying for a while. Kyle Shanahan was the best offensive coordinator in the league. Matt Ryan was never an MVP. He's not a Hall of Fame quarterback. He just had that bogus MVP season, which he robbed that MVP from Aaron Rodgers. Let's be honest. He had that bogus MVP season where he had Kyle Shanahan and Julio Jones, best offensive coordinator in the league, best wide receiver in the league. So Matt Ryan, quote unquote, won the MVP. But I think Kyle Shanahan's been a huge loss for this team. And I think, and they fired Steve Sarkisian last year. So it's the changes at offensive coordinator. There's no stability, and I think that's been a huge loss for this team. I think that's been a big reason this Falcons team has went downhill since that Super Bowl.
Oh, 1,000%. Because you look at his weapon, or sorry, let's just look over his stats real quick. 124 completions, 176 attempts, 1,325 yards, 8 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. So right now you're averaging over an interception per game if you're Matt Ryan. You also averaging, so let's say you're averaging about 2 touchdowns passing and about 1.25 interceptions. Look at their weapons. You have Julio Jones, probably the best receiver in the league. You have Calvin Ridley, who is just the perfect complement.
The problem is the offensive line isn't as good, and since Kyle Shanahan has left, the running game has not been close to as good.
And the creativity, it seems like, in the offense, it's just like more of a plain Jane type offense. I mean, you have also Mohamed Sanu, who, on any given day, like he could maybe switch to be a number 2 guy. Calvin Ridley could be a number 3 guy, and if that's your situation, I mean, I'll take that because they're talented guys, and they're very easily could be, number 2 receivers, in any offense. Austin Hooper can give you something. Devontae Freeman can run the ball, but also can catch. Well, you said the creativity and it just went from such an explosive offense to kind of like nothing special offense. But like you said, Justin, that with him being Deshaun Watson, staying out there and training longer, and just you could tell he has a chip on his shoulder, and he's just going to come out firing. I think he's going to have a big time game, and I do think that the Texans ultimately will win the game 20-20. And at this point, the Falcons, like you said, if they lose this game, that seat's getting real hot for Dan Quinn over there.
It sure is. We got an AFC North matchup in Pittsburgh this week as the 2-2 Ravens, who've lost 2 in a row, visit the 1-3 Steelers. And I think there's an upset here. I think the Steelers pull the upset in this game. I mean, I think they have success running the ball with James Conner. I think that Mason Rudolph continues to hit those short passes. I like the game plan that they have, and I think that the Ravens, Lamar Jackson has really struggled the last 2 weeks as a pocket passer. I think this front seven this is the first team I think that contains that Ravens running game with Gus Edwards and Mark Ingram. I think they contain the running game, and I think that Mason Rudolph makes enough plays in this game. I think Lamar Jackson struggles from the pocket. I think the Steelers front seven controls this game, and I'm going with an upset here. I think that the Steelers beat the Ravens at home. I got the Steelers winning the game 23-20 against the Ravens.
Wow, I got the Steelers too. I got them winning 23-21. I love the way that I'm with you, Jay. I love the way they used Mason Rudolph on Monday night. I love what they did the extra day that they had to get ready for a Monday night game. The short passes and the one deep pass he went to Deontay Johnson, whatever, or Smith, it was a touchdown. He managed the game well. He was 24 for 28. He managed the ball great. I love the way they use him. I think James Conner, gets it going in the ground game. Jackson struggled the last couple of weeks, and the Raven defense which was playing well, gave up 530 yards last week.
They really miss C.J. Mosley.
Oh yeah,
they really miss C.J. Mosley on that defense.
They had all the. I feel like they had all the momentum, and then now toss to Nick Chubb.
Yeah.
He gone.
Yep.
Yeah, man. And the thing is, now the Steelers, they're only 1 game back. Everybody was freaking out about this team. I know it's only week 5, but you win this game and you're right back. You're tied with the Ravens, or depending on how the standings go.
And you could potentially be tied with the Browns because they play the Niners on Monday night.
Yeah. So you're saying, Steelers win this game, and all will be good for a little bit.
And you want the definition of dink and dunk? What was the average yards or air yards per pass for Mason Rudolph?
2 or 3. I mean, if it wasn't for that 24 yards,
it was 2.5. It's you want literally just have every just wow. That's honestly surprised me when I heard that. Now, when we're talking about Lamar Jackson. Now he, I believe he said it after their opening game against Miami. I believe he said after that game, wasn't it, where he said, not bad for a running back, right? I believe that's where he said that. Mm-hmm. So he faced Miami, 59-10. Faced the Cardinals, 23-17. Now he started facing some real teams. KC, lost 33-28. Faced the Browns, lost 40-25. They had that late touchdown, so it's a little bit uglier than what it was. Maybe people were, jumped on that Lamar Jackson bandwagon a little quick. Give him some more time. Show him that it's not. Have him do it against some actual NFL teams, not the Cardinals and not Miami, because they're not, especially Miami. That's not an NFL team. The Cardinals, they got pieces, but still not a great team. So with the Steelers, if you want to salvage your season, this is the ideal game for you to win, because if you win this, Baltimore goes to 2-3, Steelers go to 2-3, and you're right back in there for the battle for the division. Here are the Ravens. That defense needs to show up. I mean, you gave up 33 points to the Chiefs, which it's the Chiefs offense, so I can understand, but you need to. That's the cornerstone of the Ravens. You say Ravens, what do you think? Do you think defense? And then against Cleveland, the offense wasn't really being consistent. You gave up 40 points, and especially that long run. Nick Chubb didn't even need to stiff arm, truck, juke, spin, and he literally took the toss and ran straight for a 88-yard touchdown. You gave it up way too easy. So you need to show the offense, and it's really the team in general. You need to show. Are you going to be the team that's the last 2 games, or are you going to be the team that was the first 2 games?
Absolutely. It's going to be really, really interesting on Sunday what happens there. So the blowout of the weekend, we got the Pats heading down to D.C. to face the Redskins, and the Redskins are an absolute mess right now. They don't even know who their starting quarterback is. I mean, they brought Haskins in. So they start Keenum last week. He overthrows Trey Quinn in the second quarter, coming off a Daniel Jones turnover. Then they bring in Dwayne Haskins, who's not had any any reps, even the preseason.
Because allegedly Keenum had an injury.
Yeah, okay. And
the injury was his head coach.
Yeah. I mean, and then, so they bring Haskins in with no reps with the first team offense the entire preseason, probably no reps with the first team offense in practice. So Jay Gruden, in a desperation move, brings Haskins into the game, and he just was not good at all. Yes, the last interception was Vernon Davis' fault, not his, but he threw a pick six to Jabril Peppers. Haskins was absolutely terrible in the game, and now the Redskins haven't even announced a starting quarterback. I mean, look, if I was Jay Gruden, I think once you go to Dwayne Haskins, you can't go back, because if you go back, now you're going to hurt Haskins' confidence. Even though it was only a half of football, you're now going to go back and you're going to hurt. I know they're playing the Patriots. I know they only played a half of football, but now you're going to hurt his confidence. And I think that this situation's a complete mess. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if Jay Gruden's not the head coach after this game. And I think Brady has a big day. I think this is a game where the Pats got to try to get this running game going, which has struggled after they lost James Devlin. I think the Pats do get their running game going. I think Brady has a huge day. I think the defense has a huge day with whoever plays quarterback with the Redskins, because the Redskins are an absolute mess right now. And I got the Patriots winning this game, covering and winning this game big, 38-14.
So wait, I just want to say real quick: would you hurt Haskins' confidence more by going back to Keenum, or would you hurt his confidence more by playing him against this Patriots defense?
I think going back to Keenum, you hurt his confidence. Once you go,
you're hurting his confidence either way. Like either way, it ain't going to be great. But if you're Gruden, I think you hurt his confidence. Let him be like, listen, I made a mistake. I shouldn't have done this. I want to get more time. Get used to the offense more. And maybe you just have to admit to yourself and to him, listen, we're pretty bad. we're not the best team.
Yeah, and the thing is,
you just gotta be real with yourself.
And the thing is, Gruden's might not be the head coach. He might even be fired after the Pats game on Monday. So it's not like
they might just leave him in Foxborough. Be like, yeah, bye.
Yeah, no, it's in DC.
We would ship him to Foxborough, and then
Yeah, but that. Yeah. So I think the thing with Haskins now is that yes, even if he does get benched this week and say Keenum or McCoy starts, it's not like that coach will probably get fired after week 5. And then he'll probably become the starter again in week 6, and he'll probably be the starter. He'll pretty much have that job pretty much for the next couple of years after that. So you could say it is hurting his confidence. As a Giants fan, I would never want the Giants, unless there's an injury, I would never want the Giants to go back to Eli Manning. But in this case, I wouldn't love the fact. I wouldn't like the fact if the Redskins benched Haskins, but I could see them doing it because he only played a half of football, and Jay Gruden's probably going to be fired.
Yeah, it was a very tough spot to throw Dwayne Haskins, and you can see he wasn't prepared to go in there.
Yeah, not ready for prime time.
Yeah, he wasn't ready, and I don't blame Dwayne Haskins. I blame the Redskins coaching staff there, because you're probably right. He probably had not worked out with the first team. He probably has no chemistry with these guys. So.
Plus, Terry I forgot how to pronounce his last
McLaurin.
name. Yeah, McLaurin.
He didn't play last year. He didn't play, and neither did Brandon Sheriff or obviously Jordan Reed and Trent Williams. You can't count on Jordan Reed and Trent Williams. That's their fault for them not it's his fault for holding out.
Yeah, but this Redskins organization has been a mess for years. It continues to be a mess, and it's a very tough spot who to put in this, because you get Haskins some reps and everything, but it's like it does not, to start him, he probably gets a little bit of confidence, but he probably is going out there like, what he wants probably on film, if the Bill, how Josh Allen did against the Bills and Matt Barkley, and it was not great hold these quarterbacks. So it'd be a very tough spot for Haskins to even go out there and perform well. But I think, going back to the actual game, I think the Pats will probably win this 24-3. I think the Redskins, they'll get one drive or something going, and that'll probably be about it. Pats will do better hopefully this week with the run game. It struggled. Hopefully Burkhead's a little bit healthier. I heard he really shouldn't have played. He didn't look 100% healthy. Edelman wasn't 100% healthy. Brady was only 19 for 38. He somehow didn't get sacked once.
That literally might be the worst game I've ever seen Brady play.
Yeah, I heard it was. I heard it was pretty ugly. I think, the bounce back week for him, even though they won, Redskins probably are one of the worst teams. And who's next week? We got the game of the century next week. Redskins Dolphins next week.
Oh, man.
The toilet bowl.
Yeah, so I think the Redskins will be winless going into that game, but Pats 24-3 on the road.
I think we might have two teams end up 15-1. That'd be the ideal, perfect scenario for that game next week. But with this game, it's going to be a slaughter. I think 38-10 win for the Patriots. I mean, right now the defense. I mean, again, they haven't played the best of teams, so take this, with a grain of salt. Right now, points per game, first. Sacks, first. Interceptions, first. 3-and-outs, first. Yards per game, first. Yards per drive, first. Rush yards per game, second. Pass yards per game, second. And then they've scored more touchdowns than they've allowed. So think about that for what it is currently at the moment. If you're Redskins, if you look in Webster's dictionary and you look on how to ruin a quarterback's confidence, step 1, the Redskins have completed it. Step 2 would be, in my eyes, play him against this Patriots defense, because you're just ruined. I just would, like I said, I would go to him and I would admit to him, listen, I messed up. I shouldn't have played you. That's on me. I want to sit you until their bye week and just play him and just let him learn. Because right now they're just a terrible team. They have injury to Terry, who obviously didn't play. Sheriff didn't play. So it's gonna be a long game, and for the Redskins, I don't see an end in sight right now.
No, not at all. So we have another game of the century this week with two winless teams as the Cardinals head to Cincinnati to face the Bengals, and this
could be me to go to this.
Yeah, this is. But I think here's the thing in this game. I think both running backs have really good games because both teams have major issues stopping the run.
Mixon needs it.
I think this is Mixon's breakout game. I think he has a really big game, and I think David Johnson has a big game. I think ultimately the fact that the Bengals are at home and don't have to travel halfway across the country is the reason why I think the Bengals squeak this one out and win 28-24 over the Cardinals.
I got the Cardinals win this one 23-20 because now it does not sound like Joe Ross going to play. So now you're really down a boy.
Yeah, he's out for a couple weeks.
So I think, and we saw Dalton got sacked 8 times, got hit 12, but it doesn't really help when you're using a tight end to try to block TJ Watt. That's not the best of strategies there.
Yeah, it's the classic dodgeball movie meme. It's a bold strategy con.
Yeah. That, and then who's the other tackle? The foreign giant, Bobby Tate or whatever. Yeah,
Bobby Hart.
Bobby Hart, yeah.
He's awful.
Oh, yeah.
I remember him from the Giants. Yes, he's awful.
Yeah, so that was, their line was bad. I think the Cardinals get a little bit of pressure. I think both running back get it going because Joe Mixon's been a surprise. He has not been able to do well at all. And I'm going to go with the Cardinals. I'm going to get Clifton to get his first win. A little worried about the East Coast travel, but I think without Joe Ross, I think they're going to struggle offensively.
Yeah, I have the Cardinals winning. I think it is gonna be a close game. I have them winning 27-20. The reason why I think the Bengals are gonna lose this game, if they had Ross, I think they would win. But what weapon do you? I mean, you have Tyler Boyd. He's nice, but he ain't number one. He's just good 2 and can be an amazing 3. I'm shocked that man's still playing football with the injuries he's had. That's maybe one of the most surprising things in the NFL this season. Bengals team in general, it's bad. I mean, they were thinking after Marvin Lewis left, will be improved. They might have gotten worse. Somehow they managed to do that. This should be Andy Dalton's last year. You need to move on, draft a quarterback, move on, cut bait.
Yeah, watching him with that offensive, you can talk about the offensive line, but that's what they've said. That's what the Giants fans said about Eli last year. You got to have a mobile quarterback to be successful today. Andy Dalton is, unless you have Tom Brady, who's so good at the line of scrimmage, or Drew Brees, they're so good at the line of scrimmage that they can just read defenses so well, and they could get rid of the ball so quickly. But like Andy Dalton, it's kind of like Eli and Flacco. They're just that style of quarterback. Unless you're great.
They reached their peak.
Yeah, exactly. Ago. Yeah, if Andy Dalton's reached his peak, the Bengals need to move on.
He was not very happy Monday night. Dalton either on that bench. He frustrated.
Yeah, and you could one of the worst moves maybe in the NFL just period was when I'm trying to think what his name was. I believe it was from A&M. They drafted the left tackle for an A&M to replace Andrew Whitworth, and Andrew Whitworth dared them draft my replacement. Let's see what happens.
And look at what's happened to the Rams.
And then he left, and he's probably sitting over there watching, waving, ha.
Yeah, look at what's happened to the Rams. Look at what's happened to the Bengals in that time.
That just shows you right then and there how much a left tackle means,
especially to an unmobile quarterback like Andy Dalton.
1,000%. I think right now, if you're Kingsbury, you need to like unlock this offense, just show its full potential, and you need to get it going, get David Johnson going, get Kyler Murray going against this defense, and ultimately you will win the game.
I agree. I don't think they win the game, but I think they have a good chance of winning the game. So we got the Jets traveling down to Philadelphia to face the Eagles this week, and I still think the Jets are in trouble. They're still banged up. I don't think C.J. Mosley's going to play. Sam Darnold has been cleared for non-contact drills, but I have a feeling he might not even play this week. And you're looking at the
with
Eagles,
him coming off mono, don't have Fletcher Cox on him.
No, not at all.
Avoid at all costs.
And you look at the Eagles pass rush. They really had a good week last week. They got to Aaron Rodgers with Fletcher Cox and with Brandon Graham. I think they shut down the Jets' run game with Le'Veon Bell. And really, I really don't care who starts this game. I think they obviously get pressure on the quarterback. And I think offensively, because C.J. Mosley is out, I think they get this run game going again with Miles Sanders and Jordan Howard. I think Carson Wentz has a big week. I think Alshon Jeffrey has a big week. I think Zach Ertz has a big week. And I think the Eagles win. I think the Eagles win by 3 scores. I'm going Eagles 30-13 in Philadelphia on Sunday.
I got the Eagles win this one as well, 27-10. I think the Jets are going to struggle. They've had 2 weeks, but you still don't have Darnold out there. So I think offensively you're going to struggle. I'm interested to see what Eagles team showed up. Are we going to get the team that showed up last Thursday? Are we going to get the team that we saw week 1 and week 4 was at home at the Lions and Redskins? Week 3, yeah. Against the Lions and Redskins. Because if it does, I think the Jets definitely can keep it close for a little bit. But if it's the team that showed up last Thursday, I think the Eagles win this big. The Eagles really surprised me last week against Green Bay. Carson Wentz played unbelievable. They really needed that from him. And for some reason, Doug Peterson gets his teams ready for Thursday. He's now 5 or 6-0 on Thursday night games. So whatever he does that couple of days, he's pretty good at it. They played well Thursday night. He got him ready to go.
Yeah, if you're the Eagles, you need to if you're going to be a Super Bowl contender, you need to dominate this game. And right now, I have them winning it 31-10. I mean, Darnold, I wouldn't play him. Mosley is probably not going to play. Who knows if Quinn Williams is going to play? So you have really no pressure really coming towards Carson Wentz. He can sit back there all day, every day, hit him with a play action because I think they've found a formula right now. Hit him with Jordan Howard, mix in Miles Sanders at the appropriate times. You hit the possible, big play, to Deshaun Jackson once he comes back. Big play to Alshon Jeffrey. Have maybe Nelson Aguilar give you something over the middle. Same thing with Zach Ertz. And that get that pass rush going. Because right now, people were thinking they were going to be a Super Bowl contender. So far through 4 games, they've been inconsistent. And the Packers, they showed up big time. That was a good, very, very good game by the Eagles. For the Jets, I mean, it's gonna be a long day. I don't see how you're gonna really score many points, especially if no disrespect to Luke Falk, but yeah, good luck against Brandon Graham. Good luck against Fletcher Cox. I don't see it working out for you. It's gonna be a long day.
We have an NFC South matchup in New Orleans as the Bucs travel to New Orleans to face the Saints, and I think this is going to be a really competitive game. And I think both teams stop the run really well, so I don't think Alvin Kamara is going to have a good day on the ground. And I think the Saints will force Jameis Winston to be one-dimensional. But I think the difference in this game is going to be, I think Kamara and Thompson have really big days in the pass game because the Buccaneers have a major issue in the secondary, and their linebackers have some issues in coverage. And I think that Teddy Bridgewater makes less mistakes than Jameis Winston. I think shutting down the Bucs run game is going to force Winston to make mistakes. Winston's good for a pick a game, and I think he throws a couple interceptions. And I think this is and I think there's going to be pressure on the quarterback each way. I think Cameron Jordan gets pressure on Jameis Winston. And I think that Shaq Barrett, and because Robert Quinn had a big game against Tyron Armstead, I think Shaq Barrett gets pressure. He's had a great year with 9 sacks.
Shaq Barrett might be defensive player of the year.
He's on his way to maybe being it. I mean, he's had a great year for the Buccaneers, but I think this is a close, tough, competitive division game. But I got the Saints winning close. I got the Saints winning 24-20 in New Orleans on Sunday. I
have the Saints win this one 27-17. I think the Saints get a late touchdown late, and they win by 2 scores. I think for the Saints, this game's gonna kind of be like when they played at Seattle a couple weeks ago. I think they're going to score like a special team touchdown. I think they get 1 turnovers because I think Jameis may be able to rack up some yards, but I think he's going to make mistakes near the red zone. Tampa Bay finally got an outing that they've been waiting for James Winston to have since they drafted him.
It's like, hallelujah.
Yeah, and it's not going to last because that same defense is really, really talented. They shut down Zeke, I think,
Especially in New Orleans.
Yeah, and they're going to shut down Barber this week on the ground and Jones. And I think the Saints win this by 2 scores.
I have the Saints winning this game. I have them winning 30-14. I think it's going to be a close game for a while, but I think towards the end, Winston's just going to end up, giving up that, interception at a clutch moment because 1, the noise, 2, Cameron Jordan putting pressure. Because I don't know if he's going up against whatever tackle. I mean, either tackle he goes up against. I mean, it's just terrible, for the Bucs. So he's going to put on pressure in the key moment. The 2 matchups I'm interested in seeing is, if I'm the Bucs, I'm putting Devin White on Alvin Kamara.
He might be out again, though.
Yeah, but if he plays.
He's been out the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, if he plays. Because other than that, I don't see, really what they're going to do against him in the pass game. Because it's like, what are you going to put a corner on him? I mean, your corners aren't that great to begin with. Your other linebackers, coverage-wise, aren't great. I mean, Devin White, if he does play, is one of the fastest linebackers, not the fastest in the league. So I'd be interested to see. And then on the other side, I'm interested to see Marshawn Lattimore on Mike Evans. I want to see how that matchup's going to be because Winston loves to just, throw it out and be like, hey, Mike Evans, catch it. Against Marshawn Lattimore, one of the better corners in the league, it's going to be interesting. But ultimately, Winston's going to come up with an interception in a big moment in the game in the 4th quarter. Saints win by 2 possessions.
We have Minshew Mania against Kyle Allen on Sunday in Carolina as the Jags head to Carolina to visit the Panthers. And I think this is going to be a really, really competitive game. But I think the difference in this game was I think I've seen a little bit more out of Gardner Minshew than I've seen out of Kyle Allen. I think both teams are going to have success running the ball with Christian McCaffrey and Leonard Fournette. I think this game comes right down to the end. But I think Minshew takes the Jags on another game-winning drive. And I think Minshew Mania continues. And I got the Jags beating the Panthers in an upset 24-21 this week.
Oh yeah, give me Gardner. 20-17 Jags. Again, great game-winning drive last week by Minshew. Up in Denver too, not an easy place to play. Great drive. Leonard Fournette too, and if they can get him going, well, I don't think he'll have over 200 yards again this week. But if they can just get him going like that, give him like 100, 115 yards, something like that, and it just opens up so much of that offense for Gardner. And I think they get pressure on. I think they can get some pressure on Kyle Allen. I think they get a nice pass rush. I think both teams may get to the quarterback. But I think and I think the Jags also keep the time of possession too. They had the ball for 39 minutes last week out of the 60, so they dominated in that aspect. And I think they could possibly do that again on the road.
I have Jacksonville winning. I have them winning 20-17. I think it's going to be close things. Right now, you have 2 quarterbacks that you're not really sure what to really make of it. I mean, Colin played good last week. Minshew, I don't know what to make of this guy. I mean, he's played good. I mean, that play, he made against Denver where he, in the pocket, juked out, 5 people, it seemed like, and somehow third touchdown was what's going on? Doesn't really exactly make sense. But, hey, he made a play, so more power to you. Fournette, I don't think Fournette's going to have... I think he could maybe have 100, but it's going to be a rough 100. It's going to have to be that ground and pound, 25 to 30 carries because obviously you have Shaq Thompson, Luke Kuechly, Quan Short, Gerald
Quan Short's out for the season.
No.
And that's why the run game has struggled.
Yeah. But right now, Minshew, I'm not sure if I'm right now wanting to have him be if it comes down to a big drive, he's shown it, but I'm just because the problem with him is that he doesn't have anything that really jumps out at you. Does he have a great arm? No, he has a decent arm. Is his accuracy all world? No, but he's shown in times. Does he have great athleticism? No, but he has enough. So I don't really know what to make of it. Maybe DJ Chark, who was a later mid-round pick, if I'm not mistaken, last year, has so far 19 catches, 321, 3 touchdowns, pretty good. Fournette can stay healthy and all this. It's going to be an interesting game. It's going to be low scoring. If you like defense, it's going to kind of be the game for you. But I think ultimately Jags do win by 3.
We have a game in London this week as the Bears and Raiders will play each other in London. And before we talk about the game, we'll talk about the two issues with both teams. First, Vontae Burfict suspension, which was well-deserved. That was a clear cheap shot on Jack Doyle. I mean,
when the fact that he was laughing going off the field, that shows one, there's something mentally wrong with you.
Yeah.
Two, you know what you were doing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he should absolutely be suspended for that hit. That was uncalled for, and there is no place for Vontae Burfict in the NFL.
Yeah, that may be. That may have been the last play we see Burf have on an NFL field. Maybe we'll see him in the XFL because
he'll fit in the XFL.
He probably will. But yeah, that was dirty. That was not, that was uncalled for. But again, we've seen it many times from him, and it's just, it's deserved because he's been what? It's like his. He's been suspended a bunch of times.
I think it was roughly like 13 times either been suspended or fined.
Yeah, and I think he even got suspended once in college still for something like this. So,
wouldn't surprise me.
So, I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it. You got to take these. You're trying to take these hits out of the game, and you're taking a guy that the big part of the reason why they're in the game. So
yeah, and I think one of the reasons why the only saving grace is that if he showed some kind of compassion, he might have been able to get away with not having a suspension for the rest of the regular season. But like I said, laughing going off the field, that shows you knew what you were doing.
Yes, and then you got the issue with the Bears. Roquan Smith could be out indefinitely with personal issues, and you just don't know what's going on there. So we really can't judge what's going on there. I mean, let's not forget these players are human beings. Yeah. This stuff happens, and you really don't know what's going on.
Some kind of person, whether it's some of the family member or something with with him. Either way, it's
especially because you're traveling this week across the Atlantic Ocean too. You're nowhere near home this week either. So
yeah, you could clear when someone has personal issues, and whether it's with him or a family member or whatever it may be, you need to get it right, because if you're not right on the football field, you're either it's gonna go bad in any multitude of ways.
Absolutely, and we'll go to the game. And I think in this game, yes, Mitch Trubisky's not going to start. Chase Daniel will. I think the Bears get pressure on the quarterback. I don't know if Akeem Hicks is going to play, but Khalil Mack is going to play. And I think this is Khalil Mack facing his former team. I think he's going to be motivated. He's going to have a huge game. He's going to get pressure on.
Please get a big sack and rub it into John Gruden.
And I think he's going to get pressure on Derek Carr. I think they contain the run game of Josh Jacobs. And I think Chase Daniel doesn't make a ton of plays, but he makes enough plays for the Bears to win. And I got the Bears winning at 23-17 over the Raiders.
Yeah, I got the Bears 20-10. Khalil Mack, I feel like he's gonna dominate on the defensive side of the ball. I think you're probably gonna see Khalil Mack's best game on Sunday against Derek Carr and his former team,
which is saying something because he's had pretty good games so far too.
Yeah, I think this could be his best one. You're gonna get 100. You're gonna get every play is gonna be one to sack Carr. And I think for the Raiders, they're gonna miss Perfect because he was a captain somehow. I don't know how he was the actual captain, but it sounds like he was
Raiders.
It sounds like he was taking a real leadership role of this team,
which is a problem.
Yeah, and I think, and he was a big part of kind of on their run stopping too. So I think they're gonna have Montgomery's been pretty good. I know Cohen hasn't rushed the ball at all, so it's probably mostly David Montgomery. I think Chase Daniels does enough for the Bears, and I think they won 20-10.
I have the Bears winning 27-13. I think because we're going to see Chicago get a defensive score, some sort, whether it's they pick up a fumble, running back, pick six. I think Chase Daniels is going to just play going to be the game manager kind of excuse me. No really big plays, but enough to win you the game. He's not going to blow the game for you. He's not going to win the game for you, but you just lean on defense. This Bears defense is insanely good, even without most likely Roquan Smith and possibly Akeem Hicks. Defense is just nice. Khalil Mack's going to play, like you guys said. He wants to play out of his mind. He wants to show the Raiders, I'm going to make you eat it that you traded me away. I don't care for how many picks. I want to show you up. And I'm just hoping, just for me personally, get a big sack and just rub it in John Gruden's face. Because that's TV gold for me. I want to see that just because it'd be funny.
Absolutely. So we got an AFC matchup in Tennessee as the Bills, who could be without Josh Allen, face the Titans this week. And I think this is a really, really low-scoring game. I think it's a really competitive game. But I got the Titans winning. I got the Titans winning at close 16-13. I might change this pick if Josh Allen plays and passes concussion protocol, but I don't think he will. And I think that with Matt Barkley starting, I think the Titans win this game. And I think in typical Tennessee Titan fashion, it's ugly, but they win the game. And I got them winning at 16-13 over the Bills.
Yeah, I got the Bills winning this one. I think it's going to be like 14-10, a very low scoring. And the thing is, it's like like the Titans, they're very weird. It's like we see great performance against the Browns, and they played well on the road against the Falcons. But
even going back last year when they played the Patriots.
Yeah, it's like sometimes they play great, and it's some days they don't really show up. And Mariota so far either hasn't thrown an interception yet, and I think this is probably the game where he's gonna throw one. I think the Bills doing up. I think Gorey has a decent day on the ground. And I think the Bills just do enough against the Titans. I think, to me, interesting how Mariota does against a very, very good defense. Probably the best defense he's faced so far this year. So, good indication to really see where he's at so far. He's with 8 touchdowns, 0 interceptions so far.
Right now, I'm going to go with the Titans. Like I said, I think it's going to be an ugly game. It's going to be, I think they're going to win 21-17 because, like Steve said, I don't know if Allen's going to play because after, that vicious hit from Jonathan Jones. You're not really sure. Although he did bounce. It looked like he was knocked out for, it looked like 5 seconds cold. Was not moving. All of a sudden he came awake and just like ran off the field like nothing ever happened, which was interesting to say the least. But who knows what happened when he went back in the concussion protocol, because obviously he didn't come back in the game. But I think like Mariota right now, I am shocked that he has not thrown an interception, because right now he's always was kind of like, he was the game manager, but sometimes he, like, depending on the game, he would blow it for you and would just throw that interception where you're just like, what are you, like, dude, what are you doing? But I think right now with I think Derrick Henry is just gonna be able to pound up the middle of that defense, and I think ultimately if Barkley does play, he's gonna have that 1 or 2 key turnovers that's ultimately gonna lose the Bills the game.
We got the game of the week in Dallas as the Packers travel to Jerry World, which should be called the house that Aaron built, because he's been unbelievable at AT&T Stadium. And the Packers head to Dallas to face the Cowboys. And I think this game, because the Packers struggle to stop the run, is a game, unlike last week when the Cowboys played the Saints. I think this game is a game where the Cowboys can play their game. They can run the ball. They can keep Aaron Rodgers off the field. The problem is, I just don't think the Cowboys, I know their defense is good, but I don't think the Cowboys defense stops Aaron Rodgers, and I think it comes down to the last drive of the game where the Cowboys are winning, just like it has. I mean, where the game's on the line, where just like it has the last 2 times. And I think Aaron Rodgers has a game-winning drive, and I think he does his thing against the Cowboys like he always does, and he beats the Cowboys. I got the Packers winning this week, 31-28 over the Cowboys.
Yeah, I got the Packers as well. I'm a little tentative right now with Devontae Adams being questionable. I do have the Packers win this one.
Justin, it's Aaron Rodgers in AT&T Stadium against the Cowboys. Come on.
I know. It's Jason Garrett.
Supposedly they said he might have broken his toe, so you don't know.
Yeah, so I'm trying to hold me in place but I don't really trust Jason Garrett. Anyways, I'm gonna go with the Packers 27-24. I don't really trust Jason Garrett in a big game like this. Aaron Rodgers 6-2 against the Cowboys all time, 15 interceptions to 2 INTs. So I think I think he does, especially and I would not be surprised. Final drive of the game, he goes down the field and scores a touchdown, and the Cowboy Bowl. I would not surprise me if that's how it turns.
I have the Cowboys winning.
Ooh, you're going against Aaron Rodgers against the Cowboys.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. This is the pick out of all of them that I feel the least.
You better feel the least confident. It's Aaron Rodgers in this stadium. He owns this stadium.
He does.
Yeah, he owns this. He doesn't lose in this stadium.
Yeah, the only reason I'm thinking that I'm leaning towards this is because you saw the Eagles expose what's the weakness of that Packers defense is the run game. That Eagles run game is nothing compared to this Cowboys run game. So I just honestly I could see Zeke going for like 150 to 200 on this. And if you play ball control with this, I just think that with how good the Cowboys defense is, if you keep them fresh, that you'll be able to do this. But I'll admit I'm not feeling confident about this. I just don't think if Devontae Adams plays, I think that Packers could win this, but I don't know right now, to be honest. Because I have Devontae Adams in my fantasy team. I don't know if I'm playing him or not.
I don't care if Devontae Adams plays or not. Yeah. Aaron Rodgers does not lose to the Cowboys in Dallas. I think it's going to be a close game.
15-2 or
15
something
touchdowns,
like that.
2 interceptions.
Yeah,
It's going to be a close game.
Oof.
But I think that at the end of the day, Aaron Rodgers is going to have a huge game, throwing over 300 yards and a big drive at the end. He owns this building. I got the Packers. I think the Packers definitely win this game. Yes, it's close, but I think the Packers should be a favorite, and I think the Packers win this game.
The one thing I'll say, the Packers do, and I'm happy. I'm happy the Packers win either way. When the Cowboys lose, I'm happy.
Exactly.
I'll be honest.
I will be.
So either way, this, like you said, this will be the game of the week for sure.
So we got.
And why is this not a Sunday night game?
I know. But Fox picked it. It's a Fox 425 game with Joe and Troy.
I mean,
there's only one other 4:00 game too. So this is a national game, which a lot of people will be watching. So we got the Broncos in the other 4:00 game, which no one will be watching. The Broncos travel to LA to face the Chargers.
We're gonna have 2 people watching this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the 0-4 Broncos travel to LA to face the 2-2 Chargers, and I think that the Chargers win this game, and I think they win it by 2 scores. I think Melvin Gordon has a big day on the ground. I think they get pressure on Joe Flacco, and I'm taking the Chargers to win 31-20 and the Broncos to go to 0-5.
Yeah, 23-14. I got the Chargers. 2 heartbreaking losses for the Broncos. Gardner Minshew goes down the field for a game-winning drive, and then Mitchell Trubisky gets a little bit done. Eddie Pinheiro with the 53-yard field goal time,
which was a little. No, this shouldn't have happened. Put it that way, because roughing the passer by Bradley Chubb, really? Okay.
Yeah, but and speaking of Bradley Chubb, it's gonna the Broncos are gonna miss him. I know he hasn't been able to do much. Him and Von Miller haven't been able to do much, but that will be a big loss on the defensive side of the ball. I got the Chargers win this one, 23-14.
Yeah, I have the Chargers winning as 27-21. Like you said, without Bradley Chubb, I literally will just double team Von Miller literally every single play. Make someone else beat me. If someone else on that D line and the pass rush is able to beat me, I'll live with it. I have no problem with that, but I'm not letting Von Miller beat me. Here are the Chargers. You need to show, because people were thinking that they can make a possible run in the Super Bowl because they were maybe one of the most talented teams on paper last year and going into this year. Right now we need to see what's going on. How much is Melvin Gordon going to play? Who knows? But if you're the Chargers, you need to win this game to show that you're one of the top teams in the AFC.
Sunday night game, the Colts head to a rematch of a playoff game last year. The Colts head to Kansas City to face the Chiefs, and obviously they picked the Sunday night game before Andrew Luck retired. And
can we get a refund?
Yes, and I think the Chiefs win. I think the Chiefs win by 2 scores, especially with T.Y. Hilton potentially not playing. I think Mahomes puts up over 30 points again, like the Chiefs do every week, and I think Brissett has a decent game, but not a great game because Marlon Mack might not play either. I got the Chiefs winning. I got them winning it 34-20.
Yeah, I got the Chiefs winning this one. I think I got them winning 38-24. I think.
Did you look at my paper?
No,
I'm just kidding.
No. Didn't know we had the same score, but Mahomes no touchdowns last week and a dome either.
I think he was 1 away from tying, was it Peyton Manning's record?
Lions got a good defense too.
Yeah, actually, I was surprised how well, I was surprised a little bit how close that game was. But I think the Chiefs get right this week, and I think they finally kind of play a really good game. I think, Jacoby Brissett will be able to throw through the air a little bit. I know it's going to hurt not having T.Y. or maybe even Marlon Mack. I think if that happens, they may barely put up 20. If they have those 2 guys, maybe they keep it a little closer than people think. But I think Mahomes misses Tyreek Hill a little bit, and I think maybe it's a little bit that it is a big loss, a tough loss for them. But I think the Chiefs, they'll keep rolling offensively. They always do.
I have the Chiefs winning 38-24. I think it's because this offense for the Chiefs is too nice. That crowd noise for Brissett, it's going to be too much. I think it's going to be explosive offense all day, every day for the Chiefs. They'll win by 14.
Absolutely. And then we got the Monday night game, which should be a really good game between the Browns and the 49ers. I think both offenses execute. I think the Browns found themselves last week against the Ravens. They found their identity running the football with Nick Chubb. I think he has a big day on the ground. I think that Matt Breida has a big day on the ground for the Niners too. And I think this is a really close competitive game that comes down to the end. But I think the Kyle Shanahan's team pulls it out, and I think the 49ers win. I got them winning 31-27 on Monday night.
Yeah, have we had a good Monday night game since the Week 1 Texans-Saints game? I don't really think we have, we haven't.
I'm trying to think.
I don't think we have. So I think, finally we could get a good game here on Monday night. I'm going to take the
What do you
Niners.
mean? Week 2 Monday night, Browns Jets wasn't fun.
Oh, that was terrible.
That was awful. I think the Niners won this one 31-24. I think Garoppolo does enough. They've had 2 weeks of prep for this. The Browns finally looked like the team that we thought we would see. Does that continue for 2 weeks? I don't know. The Niners did get lucky, though, 2 weeks ago against the Steelers where they had 5 turnovers.
That was ugly.
Yeah, I think they do enough to get the win at home, and I think the Niners go to 4-0.
Yeah, I have the Niners winning 27-20. I think it's just because that offensive line for the Browns was weakened in the trades with the Giants. The 49ers pass rush is very good and it's deep. You have 4 to 5 legitimate pass rushers. I'm not really sure how much, that offensive line is going to be able to hold up, and that could force Baker into, whether it's taking, a big time sack when he should throw the ball away, or, just kind of, throwing it up there and seeing what they're, going to get. But talking about the Browns, I think they did find what their formula should be on offense. Pound the ball with Nick Chubb, just pound it, Nick Chubb. Hit the play action to Jarvis Landry, have him be the more reception-based receiver, and then hit Odell for the big explosive plays. Don't lean on Odell to have 8 to 10 receptions, a game. Maybe have Jarvis Landry be that, and have Odell be the, the big play guy. Maybe 4 to 5, maybe 6, depending on the defenses you get, and have him hit the big plays instead of being a more consistent player to go to. But I think ultimately that pass rush just means too much. Like you said, Shanahan, that his offensive mind is on another level. I don't think that Kitchen's going to be able to keep up with that.
I agree there. So we'll talk a little bit of college football. We'll start with Iowa and Michigan. Iowa has their quarterback Nate Stanley. He's played okay this year. They're undefeated. They face Michigan, who got embarrassed to Wisconsin. But I think Michigan being in the big house and Iowa does not play well on the road. I got Michigan winning this game close over Iowa.
You do? I cannot. I'm never picking Jim Harbaugh again until he shows me that he can actually beat a top 25 team. I will not be picking Michigan. I got Iowa win 21-13. I think Nate Stanley, 8 touchdowns, interceptions. He's a senior. He's been a 3-year starter for Iowa. I think he manages his game very well. And Iowa plays just like Wisconsin. They're going to go to a lot of ace, I formation stuff, and they're just going to pound you the same way Wisconsin did. Iowa's had 13 guys that have rushed the football this year. 4 of them running backs and 1 fullback. I just think, and I was only allowing 8 points per game defensively. I saw what they did at Iowa State. They shut them down. I really think Iowa goes in the big house and Jim Harbaugh loses another game to the top 25 team.
If you're Michigan, this isn't going to define Harbaugh's, I think, legacy with Michigan. If he wins this game, he buys himself maybe another season, another 2 seasons. If he loses this, there's a possibility that there's going to be some big time talk about him not being there after that, because, like you said, Iowa, just loves run ball. Right now, passing wise, Michigan only giving up 127 yards. Pretty good. Rushing wise, though, you're giving up 168. What are you going to show up? Because if you don't win this game, your season's going to trend downwards, and ultimately when you end up facing Ohio State later on, although I think they'd lose the game anyway, but if you don't win this game, I think later on you're going to get smacked against Ohio State, and that's just going to be possibly the end of Harbaugh in Michigan.
College game day will be in Gainesville. My cousin goes to Florida, so it'll probably be a college game. College game day will be in Gainesville this week as Bo Nix and the Auburn Tigers head to Florida to Gainesville to face the Gators.
Good game.
Yeah, and I think that Auburn wins this game, not because of Bo Nix, but because of their defense and the fact that Felipe Franks is not playing for Florida. I got Auburn winning a really, really close game, like 20-17 over Florida this week.
I get the same score, but I have Florida again this one at the Swamp. I think Florida's defense has been really good, especially against the ground game. They're top 10 right now in that category, and I think they make Bo Nix have to throw the football, and I think he does make a couple of key turnovers as a true freshman. We really haven't seen it yet. He hasn't really made a ton of mistakes, but he really hasn't had to throw the ball 25-30 times. And I think he's going to have to win this game, and I think going to the Swamp, the first time Gaydon's been there since 2012. And for Florida as well, you gotta go to Death Valley next Saturday night, which would be tough. So you lose this one, you could be possibly 2 back I know you still got Georgia, but
good luck at that point.
Yeah, so you could be in big trouble. You lose this game. So I think Florida does squeak this one out the swamp, but I'm expecting a really, really good physical football game. And I got the Gators.
I think Auburn's going to win just because Bo Nix, yes, he hasn't had to be, have the weight of the offense on him, but he has come up, you did see it in Oregon. He did come with that big play, at the end of the game, throw the touchdown. But it's going to be strength versus strength because Auburn right now is 251 yards rushing per game offense. That's insanely good. Florida's only given up a hair under 87. So what's going to give? And an Auburn's defense, that defense is just good. It's fast. It's impressive. Are they going to be able to do that on the road? Is Bo Nix going to be able to deal with that crowd and all that on the road? It's going to be interesting, but I think ultimately it's going to be we could see possibly just like the game against Oregon, a last-second score that's going to decide the game, but I do think Auburn is eventually going to squeak it out.
The last game we'll talk about is Michigan State heading to Ohio State, and I think yes, Michigan State's defense is good, but Justin Fields is so good right now, and I don't think anyone's going to stop him. I think Ohio State wins this game big, and I think they win it by 4 score. I've been going 34-10 Ohio State. Michigan State's offense not going to be able to handle Chase Young. I got Ohio State winning 34-10 in Columbus on Saturday night.
Yeah, I think Ohio State rolls by this one. I got them winning 45-17. Michigan State defense was really, really solid until last week, and they let Indiana put up 24. He was 20 for 26 with 3 touchdowns, 300 yards. Michigan secondary got torched. I don't know if they were looking ahead or what, but kind of tells me they were looking ahead because their defense usually is better than that. And I just think Joseph Fields is going to have a huge day. And Michigan State's starting running back, Connor Hayward, sat Saturday due to personal reasons and now entered the transfer portal on Monday, so he's out. So now you got a new starting running back, and again, I don't know. I don't think it will matter. But Justin Fields and this Ohio State offense just looks unstoppable right now. And to me right now, I have them ranked as the top team in the country right now, the way they're playing. And I think they roll again. 16 touchdowns and no interception for Justin Fields.
Yeah, I think Ohio State's just going to win this big. I mean, right now, like I said, I'm right there with you in terms of being the top team, maybe, top 2. They're talent right now. This shows that, people are thinking maybe they take a step back since Urban Meyer left. They ain't missing a beat right now. Ohio State, it's going to beat them, and they're going to be the bad.
We'll wrap the show, and Justin probably has a lot to say about this, about California signing a bill to make to
finally
for them not to punish student athletes for taking endorsement money. And I think this is a good rule. I think student athletes at this point, knowing how much these universities make off them, should make some money off their name. And I think this is a really good rule that this is really good for California to start this.
But isn't it only going into effect 2023?
2023, yeah.
The Florida governor yesterday is proposing it
for 2020, right?
Yeah, for April 1st. So it could change. Yeah. And for the landscape of this, I think it is a great idea because these guys do work a ton. Because it's you can't. I remember, me and my friends, we went to go to the practice session at the Excel Center. Jay Morant was there, but he couldn't sign autographs because of this rule. Because he couldn't sign the autographs. He couldn't. I think it was probably his agent or something was telling him no. So it's gonna be good, and we've seen people get suspended from this. We saw Jim Tressel, years ago with the memorabilia stuff. And I think it's smart, and I know, and if you want to go to Connecticut too, Chris Murphy's on the side of paying, so they could come. I'm surprised Connecticut really hasn't proposed it yet, but there's been a couple places too where they're doing it for a federal law as well. So the NCAA, I know they do not want this, but I think it's going to happen, and it's going to change the entire landscape because I don't think it's just going to be California at that point. So I'm not worried of just, it's not just going to be California. But it's very interesting. It's going to really change the landscape. I think it's going to help the top of the line universities. I don't think it's going to really help. I don't think it's not going to help these small schools out really because they're not unless you get a John Morant in college basketball, that's really the only time that one of these smaller schools are going to change. So like a team like UConn, yeah, they're bad. Maybe a couple basketball guys get some extra money, but probably nobody on the football.
Unless you're the one freakishly athletic DB they produce every like 3-4 seasons.
Yeah. So, and the other concern I had is in the locker room is if one of your top guys is making some money, and it's how is the attitude of some of these guys work?
Jealousy.
Yeah. So that's kind of where it's going to be a little bit interesting to see how it. How that works out, but it's a good idea. I am also a fan, so hopefully they can start producing the video games again, because I do miss that. So
I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
NCAA football.
Oh yeah, I love that game.
That was
so
fun.
I still play that game, but I like the decision that they're finally putting it in, and NCAA, they're trying to stop it. I don't think they will. I'm not a big, I don't like Mark Emmert anyway, so I'm fine with them not happy with this.
I'll keep it short, sweet, and to the point. NCAA, you deserve it. This is the start of the fall of, hopefully, of the NCAA. I would just love it. You deserve it. It's like, look under hypocrisy. It says NCAA.
Absolutely. That's going to wrap it up this week for Sports Talk with RKJ. For my co-host Justin D'Onofrio and Kyle Galili, I'm Steve Risser. We'll be back next week talking more baseball playoffs, week 6 in the NFL season, and week 7 in the college football season. Have a great weekend, everybody.